There are more than 1 billion people using Google Maps every month. And obviously, we all need to know where we're going and how to get there at some point or another. But have you ever thought of a roadmap to help your business navigate through to your revenue goals? Or what about 5 strategies to help you smash through the limitations of this new normal, to experience predictable growth and still make a positive impact in the world? Well, joining us today to take us through those 5 strategies is Nikhil Rugani, business growth strategist and copywriter. Welcome, Nikhil.
Hi, Angela. Thanks for having me.
Not at all. Thank you so much. I jumped on this straight away when I saw your 5 strategies. Really important to get this out there. Look, we know that it's an easy number, right? If someone sees 5 steps to do something, they're more likely to jump on it and try to execute those steps. And in your world of direct sales copywriting, that's what it's all about, isn't it? Getting straight to the point quickly.
Absolutely. It's about getting the quickest result, in the fastest possible way, as we're talking, to go from cold to sold. So that's
not easy. That's not easy.
No, it's not. It's not.
Especially
when there's so many
the cold to sold.
Yeah. That's kind of catchy. I can't take full credit for that. Actually, one of my other clients came up with it, so I've just been appropriating it.
So tell me, while we've been used to you being a direct sales copywriter, you have already been doing the growth strategy specialist behind the scenes work. Are you just defining now your own career? Are you taking your own advice here?
I am. Absolutely, I am. There's a saying that you got to sip your own champagne. So that's really what I'm doing is, defining a bit more about what I'm doing. I've been doing it anyway, but now I thought, look, let me just make it clear and make it visible for people out there so they can see exactly what I'm up to. So
I know that that's what you've been doing, and you're aware that in order to write the copy that gets people's attention and go out there with something cold and then get it sold. But the difference here is that you've actually got some of the data and the case studies to back that up. Can you just take me through a couple of those profound numbers in terms of results of revenue that you're seeing for your clients?
Yeah, absolutely. So look, I've been working with a lot of coaching, consulting and training organizations over the 7 years that I've been running Shot of Copy, which is the agency I run for copywriting. And some of the results, as you said, they are very, very profound. There was one particular client that before they came to me, they were 5 months in the red. And they were struggling to get back into the black. So we worked with them and got them back into the black in about 4 weeks, just by doing a bit of fine tuning and optimizing. But then when we launched a campaign, one particular campaign we put out there, with one email, got them 92 leads literally overnight. I mean, this is not even figuratively; it's overnight 92 leads, which converted to their biggest month of sales, $430,000 worth of revenue, and that was with one email, and that was a direct campaign.
Well, the highlight there is that, this is a client that was in the red, which is obviously not a place any one of us wants to be in business. And then to turn things around so quickly, it feels like a miracle, but it's not. There's a process, right? And if you follow the process, and as you said, you fine tune it, you can end up with such phenomenal results, which are well deserved, because you're not fine tuning necessarily the product. It's just the comms.
Correct. Yeah, it's the process. It's as we were just saying, how do we go from cold to sold? How do we get them along that journey in a more optimized way, in a more effective way?
The 5 strategies that you refer to tackle the business growth and smash through what we're all feeling at the moment, it's very particular to trainers, coaches and consultants. Is this another area that you're specialising in?
Look, I have always tended to work with trainers, coaches and consultants. To be honest, I always like working with people who are making a difference out there. And I found that, on a day-to-day business level, it tends to be the consultants, the trainers and the coaches who are going out there to impact personal and professional development. So that's why I'd really like to work it. However, these particular strategies can be applied to most businesses out there.
Right, I'm going to run through them very quickly. I'm going to summarise all 5 of them and then we're going to go through them. Number 1, know thy customer. Number 2, make them an offer they can't refuse. Number 3, go against the grain. Number 4, make them feel good. Number 5, the one that I warned you I'd pick a bone with you about, is think like a politician. Well, we're going to save that to last. It is last on the list, but we'll save that one to last. Let's go back to something that, and you refer to these strategies as some of them could appear quite simple on the surface, but actually pulling them apart, doing them and executing them is where all the business is. So number one, know thy customer. That does seem like the most simplest one of all.
It is the most simplest one, to be honest, and that's why I started with the first one, as being know thy customer. It's often one that's overlooked because anytime I believe that there is a problem in your business, whether it's sales, marketing, retention, customer service, it's always because you have a very low level of knowledge about your customer, or the customer's evolved to a point where you've kind of disconnected with them. So going back and knowing your customer should be akin to you trying to know how your best friend would think, or think about, like, your favorite character out of a TV show. What would they think in times of calamity and disaster? How would they think when they're happy and excited or they won the lottery? You know how your favorite character out of a book would think, or your favorite character out of a TV show would think. The same should be with your customer. You should be able to almost predict the thoughts that they're going to have. And that's why I say...
You highlight actually that you need to review them as a complete human being. Correct.
Because quite frankly, I don't believe anyone at the forefront of their mind is thinking, oh my gosh, I need to purchase your training services, or oh my gosh, I really need to purchase coaching and consulting. No, they're real people with real issues. They're probably thinking, I work too hard and I barely get to spend time with my wife and kids. Or, I don't know how I'm going to meet payroll next month because my cash flow is absolutely strapped. They're having real world issues. And so the importance of knowing them as a complete human being allows you to enter their world. And when you can
it would be a little bit like denying that there is a global pandemic right now.
Yes.
Good luck with that. Number two, make them an offer they can't refuse. That feels like I've walked into the car salesman yard, but that is the truth, isn't it? Put together an offer that they couldn't possibly say no to, but not, and I'll highlight this as you discuss in your strategies, not by making it cheaper, but by giving them better value.
Yeah. So value is always in the eyes of the customer, right? And we want to be able to. It's a concept which I call offer stacking or value stacking. So you have an offer. Let's say someone offers you a $3,000 training, and for that you get $3,000 worth of training. Now, what happens if you could create product and services around that you could add into that, which don't cost you anything? Like, you might just say, okay, great. I'm also then going to add in there a management debriefing. It's valued at about maybe $1,500, but it's an hour of your time. I'll also give you a video training series on how to manage your customers, and how to manage irate customers, and how to reduce stress in the workplace. Now, that's valued at about $2,000, but you know what? I've produced it once. It's not going to cost me anything again. So the value that you're going to add is going to be intensely valuable for your customer, but low cost and low time investment from yourself, so that you can keep reusing it. Now, if all of that you added up, you've got a $3,000 training, a $2,000 video series, and a $1,500 consultation. All of a sudden, you've got $6,500 worth of value that you're still offering for $3,000. Now,
is this a way of cutting through the noise for people a little bit, to separate you from the pack?
Look, I think it will definitely cut through the noise. But I think that's more of a convincer strategy to, when you're talking with people, is to demonstrate the absolute value and what's in it for them, which is the common thing we hear in marketing. What's in it for me? Now we're telling them that, you may have these issues. We're going to help you address all of these issues, as well as give you the initial training or the initial coaching package, whatever it may be.
So if we look at number three, I love this because I feel like I spend a lot of time having to think outside the box for so many different parts of my business. Go against the grain. Do something completely different. Go old school. Be a leader. It's quite a poignant point, isn't it? Go old school.
I've become a bit of a fan of that, and I actually worked with an IT managed services consultancy on a problem that they had, and they bought a list of people, and they were going to go telemarket them and cold call them, and I was just like, you don't want to do that. Let's work. They wanted to target purely lawyers. They knew their customers' lawyers, and they thought the best way to get them was to be cold calling them. I don't think you're going to get too much love from that. So we put together a letter, and we got a bit of, we got them to get some old computer parts and break them up, and then attach it to this letter, wrap it up, put it into a padded envelope, and post it out to people. The title of the letter was, "Is your technology broken?" Opening headline, right? The conversion rate of inquiry turned to 30%, which is probably a lot better than what they would have got if they just cold called.
Well, given the situation of Australia Post at the moment, I'm sure they'd be better off hand delivering them, but noted.
Yeah.
Number four, make them feel good. People want to feel good, and they'll spend money on feeling good. But you note, particularly, to do that with integrity and to have ethics around it.
I think so, yeah. I'm a strong believer in integrity and ethics, and I think sales and marketing are both very, very powerful tools, and you've got to use them for the forces of good. So I mentioned in my special report that when you're going out there to make people feel good, I compare it to someone who wants to buy a $1 coffee from a service station versus, buying a $5 coffee from their local barista.
That's right.
People will spend the $5 because that $5 is what makes them feel good. And when you can make people feel good and you're the provider of good feeling, people will keep coming back to you. That makes you in demand because people ultimately, they want to feel good. And that's what...
It's a great comparison when you talk about the coffee prices, because, probably 5 or 10 years ago, it would have been just price-based, those choices. Now it is about how that particular product makes you feel.
Yes, absolutely.
And while both have a place in the market, it's still a very big price difference for people to commit to.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it is about how they feel. If you can convince someone to spend 4 times the money on a different product,
yeah. Well,
for no other reason other than how they feel, it's a very interesting, yeah.
Well, you think about it, a Toyota versus a Ferrari, it's the same thing. Both get you from A to B. One people see as a status symbol, and one people see as literally just to drop my kids to school, right? But one makes
in the Ferrari.
In the Ferrari,
even if they have to be strapped to the roof. Now you're very lucky here because we are going to run out of time. So we'll have a look at this. Okay, so think like a politician. Now, come on. You're either going to give politicians kudos for something that they're not doing, or you've glossed over all the bits. So when you talk about think like a politician in terms of a business growth strategy, politicians, activists, advocacy groups, they're all master strategists, you say, and that they mobilise crowds to follow their vision and join them on the campaign trail. Now, this is true.
Yeah.
As far as a political campaign goes, you really have to rally the troops. You're going into battle, you're going into war, and you need people to join you in this mission, and they have to believe. They have to have drunk the Kool-Aid and follow you down, perhaps jump off a cliff. But how are you likening that to business growth?
With particular to the niche market that I target, coaches, consultants, trainers, people who have, as I said, I like working with people who love to make a difference. And it's these people that really got into business to make a difference. They got into business not just to make the money. Look, I've got a political background, and that's why this is quite dear to me. And Angela, I know that you're very active in the political scene too. You didn't just get into politics just for the power and the control. You got in there because you had a real mission. You wanted to make a difference. You want to make an impact. You wanted to spearhead the change. That's what I believe that the people who got into these particular businesses want to do. They've got a deeper change. They just don't talk about it, or they rarely talk about it. And
it doesn't sell as well.
It doesn't. And that's kind of why I think, you're going to take this contrarian approach. That if you start putting yourself out there and wearing your heart on your sleeve and say exactly, this is what I'm going to do. We worked with a particular lady who runs a training company that, at the time, Vanuatu had a massive cyclone come through. And she said, look, if you guys buy my training package, we're going to start donating a portion of your training to the people to rebuild their villages in Vanuatu, right? Steadily, we saw that the increase was happening in her sales because people wanted to be a part of that. People crave a deeper meaning. People want to be belonging to a greater movement, all right? And I think if you're getting into business, especially into a business like training, consulting, and coaching, you have a deeper purpose. Feel free to share that. In fact, that's what's going to make people.
It's the human connection, right? It's not, you're not selling a cup and it's just that visual look of the product. You're talking about selling people something that is going to change their lives,
Absolutely.
Make their business work better, be more profitable,
yeah.
All those other things that come with that, lifestyle choices, family time, et cetera, et cetera. So if there's not a human connection, if you don't resonate with the client that's buying, if they don't feel that connection, they're not going to be able to sell it or use the strategies.
Correct.
Or conquer them. So in terms of the campaign, a campaign is not just about sharing a message or a vision once off.
Correct. It's a repeated thing. It's a lifelong calling. We see people like Kevin Rudd, who's left Parliament, left politics, but still sharing his vision and his message. Whether you agree with it or whether you're not, there is people he'll mobilise, and there's people that are going to detract, but those aren't his people anyway. And it's going to be the same with your business. You're going to attract more of the people that you want, and guess what? You're probably going to start detracting from the people that are not really your customers in the first place. And it circles back
clean
nicely.
It all up. Yes.
Yeah, it circles back nicely to know your customer. Yeah, because you know what drives them as well. So it's a nice little loop.
Well, on that nice little loop, we've come straight to the end, actually, right bang on time, which is always grateful at this end for us in the studio. Thank you so much for joining us today, Nicole. We appreciate that. That's 5 growth strategies, and they'll be out. We'll put the link down there, and people can comment and reach out to you to get the 5 growth strategies. Now, to everyone out there in YouTube land, you know, guys, you know the drill. Press subscribe. You can follow. You'll never miss out on the latest interviews that come down from SMETV. To Piedmont Studio, thank you so much for making us look and sound good. To the SMEA Association, without you, SMETV wouldn't be possible. If you have any comments, tips, tricks, questions, any stories for us, you can send them straight to me, news@smea.org.au, and of course, we're across all the socials. Thank you so much, Nicole.
Thanks for having me, Angela.